Hello friends, welcome to my new Java programming tutorial. Today we will discuss about scanner class in Java. So let's get started. So friends, what is scanner class in Java? Scanner class provides us the functionality to read numerical values such as int, float, double, long, strings and other types of data such as big integer, big decimal from the sources like console, keyboards and files in the system. Scanner class was designed to read and scan input from the console, a string, a file, or any source that implements readable or readable byte channel interface. Scanner class reads the data from our sources in the form of tokens. So, in order to separate out the tokens, scanner class needs to know that what are the delimiters. Here some of the delimiters used by the scanner class are comma, white space, symbols such as star, dollar. Based on these tokens, the scanner class decides that okay, now I have to take out the tokens by removing the comma, white space and whichever the delimiter is, and it sends us back the token. The default delimiter used by the scanner class here is white space. Say for an example, if a scanner class scans a string say hello world welcome, and if we ask scanner class to say return us the tokens based on the delimiter say white space, so the scanner class scans this string and removes the white space bit from between them, and whatever is left it sends us back in the form of tokens, and in this example it would be hello world and welcome. So friends, let's see how we can create a scanner. Scanner class has many constructors through which we can create various type of scanners. Constructor of scanner class can be say a scanner constructor taking in file instance, scanner constructor taking an input stream, scanner constructor taking in readable object, scanner constructor taking a readable byte channel, and scanner constructor taking a simple string. So what are the usages of these few constructors? Suppose I have to read a text file, so I would create a scanner which will take in a file instance. If I have to read something from the console, I will create a scanner which will take in an input stream. If I have to create a scanner which can take a readable object or a readable byte channel object, then I will create the scanner based on these constructors. And even if I say suppose want to read a string or say a scan a string, then I will use the constructor taking in a string parameter. So friends, let's look into some important methods in scanner class. Scanner class has methods by the name say next boolean, next byte, next short, next int, next long, next float, next double, next line, next big decimal and many other more. So what actually these method does? Suppose I have text file having all these data types. So whenever I call say suppose example if I take a next int example, then whenever I call next int, the scanner will scan the document and it returns the next token as an int value. So whenever I will call next int, it will each time it will send me the next integer value present in the document. Whenever I say for want a string, complete string, then I can call the scanner dot next line. And whenever I want any other data types, then I can use the data types for preceding with next. So friends, let's look into some of the more important methods in scanner class. In previous slide, we saw there are many methods which can read the tokens in the form of say int, float, string and other data types. So say suppose I want to scan a text file and I am calling a next int over that text file. What happens if the text file doesn't have any int value? Then it will throw an exception saying that no such element exception. So in order to avoid this exception, what we can do, we can first check that whether the document is having that integer value or not. So in the example we can use has next int. What does has next int will do? The scanner class will browse the document and it returns true if a int value is available to be read, and if it's not, then it will return a false, so that we can come to know that the document doesn't have any int value, and I cannot call next int over that method. So apart from the say has next int, there are many other methods which are related to many other data types such as has next long, has next float, has next line, and many other more, which will check first that whether the particular data type is present or not, and if it is present, then only move further, or it give us an indication that we can move further and call the next method over that, and we can get that particular data type value. And if it's not, then we are not supposed to call the next, say a next method over it, because it will ultimately result in no such element exception. So friends, let's look into example and see how the scanner class works over say a string. Suppose I have to scan a string welcome to hoverspot.com. Now this string is having two spaces in between, say after welcome and after to. So what scanner class will do, it will separate out tokens say welcome, to and hoverspot.com based on the delimiter, which is space in our case. And suppose if we want to now read the tokens and our say current token is over welcome, then whenever we call next, then it will return me the next token leaving out the delimiter. So the next token for me would be 2, and suppose I call again next, then it will return me hoverspot.com leaving the delimiter. And if suppose I want to check that whether after hoverspot.com is there any other token to be read from, so I will call has next. So has next will check that whether after say welcome or whether after say hoverspot.com is there any other token to be read. So if it doesn't find any token to be read, then it will send us false. So has next method just provides us the indication that no other token is available to be read, and so calling next will result in no such element exception. So let's move ahead. Friends, scanner class also has a few more methods which are useful in some case. Scanner class say uses a default delimiter, which is the space, and if we want that scanner class uses some other delimiter say comma, star or whatever, then we can change the delimiter by calling the use delimiter method. And suppose in later stage we want to check that what's the current delimiter the scanner class is using, we can call the method delimiter and it will returns me back the current delimiter used by the scanner class. There is another method find in line. So what it does, that suppose over a scanner I I pass a pattern, that suppose take an example, I am browsing a string say welcome to hoverspot.com, and over that scanner I am calling the find in line method and passing in string as 2. So it will browse to the text, the string, and it will see that welcome to hoverspot is having 2 or not, and if it is having 2 it will return me back the pattern 2, and if it doesn't find any pattern it will return me null. And the last method would be say close. So whenever we call the close over the scanner, it will just close the scanner for us. uh, so friends, let's move on to Eclipse and see the actual working of these methods. So friends, let's see how scanner class works in Java. In order to use scanner, we will first create the object of scanner. So here in this case I will be creating say few objects of scanner which can read from console, a string, a file and from a reader. So first we will create a scanner from a string. So here we have created a scanner which takes in a string. In order to use scanner, first we have to import it. Now let's create a scanner which could read from a file. So first we will create a file. We will import the file, and the file will be by name scanner test.txt. So first we will create the scanner test.txt file, in the scanner project, we will right click on the scanner project, new file, and in the scanner project, here in the text file we will say put some strings. Say we have given two lines of strings, hello world and how are you. We will save it, and now we will create a scanner this which will read from this file, and whenever we use the file it throws an exception saying file not found exception. So we will put the throws here so that whenever this exception occurs, it is throwing to the JVM to handle it. Now let's create a scanner which can read from the console. Now here we have created a scanner which can read from the console. Here system.in represents our console. So let's move ahead and see one more constructor of creating a scanner. We will create a scanner by using the reader. So we will create a scanner which could read from a reader source. In order to make a scanner which could read from a reader, first we have to create a reader. So suppose we say we are creating a file reader, and first we will import it. It's in java.io package, and here in file reader we will give the which file we want to read. So say suppose we use the same file scanner test.txt, and now we will create a scanner which could read from this file reader, and in this scanner we will pass in the file reader instance. So friends, these were the ways by which we can create the scanner. Say suppose we want a string scanner, we will create it by passing in a string. If we want a file scanner, then we will create by passing in a file. Say suppose we will create first file here. Here we are given the file name as scanner text.txt, which has some content in it, and then we have created a console scanner which will read from the console. Say suppose here which will read it from here, and we have also created a scanner which will read from a reader. Suppose I want to use a now string scanner, so I will use. Now I am demonstrating how to use string scanner. So we have created a string scanner here, so we will just put it here, string scanner dot, say if we use the method string scanner dot next line, and if we try to run the program, we will see that it has printed welcome to hoverscope.com, which we have passed to the scanner here. Let's move ahead and see how we can use the file scanner. So we have used now file scanner, and we want to print the next line of the file scanner. So whenever this sysout gets executed, it will use this file scanner and sees that which file is attached to it, scanner text.txt. It will go to that file and it will read the next line. Say here it will read as hello world. So if we run the program here, let's see what it prints. See, it printed hello world because it read the next line, which will be like whatever the next line it can read. Now let's see if how can we use the console scanner. So here if I use the next line method again, and now let's run the program. From the string scanner it printed this, and from file scanner it printed this. Now if I suppose I want to make it read from the console, and I type in the console reading from the console, and if I hit enter, then it executes this method and it prints reading from the console. So till user enters something on the console and hit enter, the console scanner scans the console, and whenever user hit enter, it prints whatever he has entered. So let's move ahead and see how we can use the reader scanner. So it will go to string.txt which we are passing in the reader, and it will print the next line similar to what we did it here in the file. So let's run this. So suppose I type here, it used the reader scanner and it printed hello world, similar to what we use as a file scanner. So friends, these were the ways by which we can create the scanners and how we can use them. So let's see the methods which are present in the scanner. So let's see few important methods of scanners, such as next and next and many other of same form. So friends, we will take file scanner for this explanation. Here we created file scanner by pointing to scanner test.txt. In scanner test.txt we have two lines, say hello world and how are you, and say suppose we use something like, and if we run the program, see it printed hello world and how are you, both on the same line. So what did while loop did? It had a condition that whether the document is having next token or not. So when we ran the while loop, it looped over hello world and it looped over how are you, and as soon as it printed the hello world and how are you on the console by file scanner.next, it again checked that whether now any other say token is left. So here after this line there was no token, so it printed, so this while loop returned false and it came out of the file loop printing the hello world and how are you. So let's move ahead and see the other methods, such as, so here also we'll use something similar which we did above. Only change we'll do file scanner dot has next int, and we'll print file scanner dot next int, and here in scanner dot text we will remove this, and suppose now we give 1 comma 2 comma 3 4, we'll give this 4 things and we'll save the file, and we will comment this out, and if now we run the program, it prints 1 2 3 4. So what the has next int does, it only reads the next integer from the source. So it read 1 2 3 and 4 and printed on the console, and the has next int checked that whether there is any other integer left or not. So after 4, this file scanner dot has next returned false and this while loop ended. And similarly there are many methods which work the same way, which are, say suppose has next double and has next double, for long, for short, for byte, and many other more which work the similar way. So friends, let's move ahead and now see the other methods which can be very useful. Say if we take the file scanner for example, has a method, say if we use delimiter and we pass in a string, say comma. So initially whenever we use the file scanner, the default delimiter was white space, and now we want that that should scan based on the delimiter, say comma. So we have made this file scanner to use comma as the delimiter, and suppose in scanner test.txt I have put something like, now instead of space I give the commas and I save it, and I just copy paste this and I paste it over here. And if I run this program again, it this time it used the comma as the delimiter, and then it sent token 1, token 2, token 3 and token 4, removing this delimiter. So let's move ahead. And there is one more good method. Say if I use file scanner dot, if I use delimiter, it will send me the current delimiter used by the scanner. If suppose I print it out here and I run this, so here it prints out that now the current delimiter is comma. And so friends, let's move ahead and see, there is one more good method by the name find in line. So let's see what find in line does. Now let me comment this out. Here suppose I go in scanner test.txt and I remove this. I do something like hello comma and I save it. Here suppose I want to search now the scanner test.txt, I will do something like find in line. I will pass hello, and what it does, that find in line will search the scanner test.txt, and if it sees that whether it is hello or not. If it is hello, it will return me back the hello. And if I print it out, so if I run this, it will return me hello, and it will say that okay, it has found the hello. And if I say do something like this, something like 1 2 3 4, and if now I run it again, so it found hello, so it returned me hello, and it didn't found 1 2 3 4 here in the scanner test.txt, so it returned me null. Then suppose I do something like this now, and now I run this, it returned me world. So what it actually does, the find in line, it searches the file and finds and sees that whether hello is there. If it found hello, it sends me the hello, and so it gave us back the world. So what it did here, when I ran file scanner.find in line and passed hello, it went here, it took hello and returned it back, and the token was set to this hello. So whenever we called the next, now over there, it removed this delimiter comma and it sent me the world back again. So this was the a really good method, find in line. And in last, if we see, we have one more good method, which is close. What it does, it closes the scanner for us, as scanner is the really valuable resource. So after using the scanner, we should always do this, and it will close the scanner for us. So friend, this was the tutorial over the scanner classes. And initially we created scanners based on a string, a file, text file, console and a reader, and then we performed say a few methods. Say here we printed next line, which printed as the next line in the say string, file, console or reader. And then we saw the next and has next method. We also saw the next and has next data type methods, which were like int, float, boolean and all. And then we saw the use delimiter method, which help us to change the delimiter from say if we see default white space to comma. And now whenever we try to scan document, it returns a token by delimiting it with the comma. And then we saw find in line, which is like which searched say a string for us in the text, and whenever you call the next after the search, then it printed me the next token. And finally we also saw the close method. It just closes the scanner which we use. So after the usage of scanner we have to close, because close scanner is really a valuable resource for us. So friends, this was the demo for scanner class in Java. So friends, if you like this video, then please like us on Facebook and YouTube. Share this video on Facebook with your friends, and if you have any comments to share, then share it below. You can also subscribe my video on YouTube, and you can also visit my blog at www.hubberspot.com for more Java tutorials and source code. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.